are some common ergonomic mistakes you see in the workplace that contribute to injuries?
Well, some of our most common, of course, you have low physical demand settings like the office job. Of course, you want to make sure your computer monitors at eye level, feet flat on the ground, and your back sitting upright in a chair. But as far as our more physically demanding jobs, which we get a ton more injuries in these departments, the most common issues are lifting techniques, pulling and pushing.
All right, for workers in those physically demanding jobs, what exercise or stretches do you recommend?
Well, you get most of your activities involve your back. So all of pulling, pushing, lifting, carrying, a lot of it has to do with your back strength. So oftentimes when people are picking up objects from the ground, they're not utilizing their body in the right way. You hear it all the time to lift with your legs and not your back. Well, you'll be surprised at how much you see that even after instruction and training, that just kind of goes out the window sometimes, especially the heavier the load gets. It seems like a lot of workers out there, they're hesitant to ask for help, and so they'll just go ahead and try to manhandle it themselves, and you know where that leads, right into our office.
Very true. All right, what are some simple ergonomic adjustments workers can make to prevent the risk of these injuries?
Simple adjustments would be making the job easier for you is a kind of a baseline you want to start with. Whenever you're carrying objects, you want to hold it close to you. Okay. If something is, if you're going to pull something and it's not feeling like a smooth, easy pull, try to avoid the urge to start wrestling with it and trying to twist your back. Of course, twisting your back is a high risk for an injury for your back. You always want to make sure you're facing the job of whatever it is you're doing and you're not twisting at your torso while you're carrying something heavy.
Okay.
Now let me just add one real simple illustration to exactly what John was saying.
Okay.
I'm going to put this weight here in 10 pounds. There's a 10-pound weight.
Okay.
So if I have this 10 pounds right here, it is 10 pounds. When it's here, it's now 50 pounds.
Okay.
Okay? And so somebody thinks all the time, well, this weight's nothing, and it's not a lot, but out here it is a lot in terms of the stress it's putting on your back and your neck and your shoulders and everything else.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Closer the better.
Thank you
Closer
for
the better, that's absolutely true. Sometimes making the height more comfortable for you as well. For example, if you're having to get down and work down low, you can grab a pad or something to kneel down, or a stool and sit down and work at it, so where it's more of a comfortable height. Same thing with a ladder. If you're climbing up a ladder and you're having to get to the top rung to reach whatever it is you're going for, go get a taller ladder.
Okay. As far as like that pushing and pulling, would you like to give us some examples?
Sure.
Can you demonstrate it for us so that we have a better understanding of that?
Absolutely. Here we have a sled, which it gets used almost more than any piece of equipment in here. But, pushing and pulling is a very common workplace function. A lot of times people will get behind a heavy load and they'll try to get their whole body behind it like so, rounding out the back, which is going to cause that high risk for injury. With all of our exercises, a common theme you'll hear is locking in your back, okay? So you always kind of want to get your back locked in and use your legs to push you forward.
Okay.
And same with going backwards. You want to lock your back in and kind of use your legs for leverage to help you pull forward, as opposed to rounding out the back, once again making it more susceptible to injury.
Okay.
The same thing could be said with lifting.
And John, tell them about pushing and pulling, just a common point, with pushing the weight, stronger leg in back, with pulling the weight, stronger leg in front.
Sure, that's a great point. To push, you always kind of want to get your strong leg behind you. And if you try to push yourself with all your might, you almost will instinctively go into that position to get that leverage behind you. And same thing with pulling. You want your stronger foot in front of you to kind of get that leverage off for you.
Okay, great.
With pushing and pulling, we have here a sled. This gets used almost every day in our clinic. Most common mistakes with pushing and pulling is, once again, going for that rounded back position and trying to push the load that way, and same with the pulling. Sometimes people round their back out and try to pull that way. that will lead to an injury someday. So the way you want to do it is, just like many of our maneuvers that we're doing in here, you want to lock in your back and use your legs to help push the load. So you're going to kind of lock in that back, and you want to get your stronger leg behind you, and it'll really help you to get that leverage to start the push. And oftentimes with pushing, once you get it started, it kind of pushes itself after a little while. So get that strong leg behind you, back locked in, and push forward. And same thing with pulling backwards. This time you're going to get your stronger leg in front of you, lock in your back, and start to pull backwards using your legs. Okay, here we have a box, which, let me get this in view. All right, box lifting, another extremely common task in the workplace. You want to get as close as you can to it, kind of widen your base of support. First thing you're going to do is bring your hips back and keep your back straight. Okay, it's the most important thing, once again, to lock in that back. So you're going to come down and keeping the back straight the whole time. Keeping the load close to you is also very important. Like Tony was saying earlier, this out here weighs much more than this here. Same thing on the lift down, like so.
And when John lifted that, straight vertical line here, if you've ever seen a weightlifting contest, those guys have their whole upper thighs chalked. There's chalk all over it. The reason being is when they're lifting hundreds and hundreds of pounds, that bar is going to come so close in a vertical plane, it's going to hit there on their thighs. And that's what they want. That's what they want to accomplish. So in industrial lifting, you want that same vertical line, straight line up there. So, and I was watching the position of his legs, and they were perfect. So, yeah.
Sometimes it's about setting yourself up for the lift also. If you come up to the box like so and your feet are close together behind it, it's going to force you to do this to get to it. Even if you squat down, it's going to hit your knees. It's going to throw off your technique. So make sure you get nice and close to it, like Tony was saying, right over it if you can, and lift it very close to you.
And staying flat-footed is also important. Yeah.
All right, in closing, how can employers incorporate ergonomic training into their workplace safety programs?
Yeah, so I'll say this, I'm a certified ergonomic evaluator, and I think this is probably the most underutilized service we have. I can remember back in the day, I was called into industries all the time to do job analysis and look at the jobs, look at what the risk assessment was. And it's like nobody really goes to that point now. But I think to have a good workplace safety program, it all starts there in understanding what the job entails. You would be shocked to know how many supervisors in a factory really don't know the physical characteristics of the job they're supervising. They may say, well, they don't have to lift but 2 pounds. Well, but they might be lifting that 2 pounds 22,000 times a day, and that makes a difference. Or they don't have to bend that far, but they're bending at a 35-degree angle 3,000 times a day. So once you understand that job and know that job, you can better do a workplace safety program because you can address those factors with the worker. So we have those services available at Therapy South for sure. We even have an on-site program where we go on site so many hours a week for those various reasons. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention through all this, for companies, the post-offer job test. If you want safety in your program, you test these people up front and you make sure they can do the job to start with. I can't tell you how many people we've tested through the years that failed the test, and that was a work comp claim waiting to happen. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you heard it. If you need any additional training, please feel free to call Therapy South. Also, you can visit the AlaCOMP Safety Library and our YouTube page. Please subscribe and join that. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.